Welcome to the Globetrottin ADs. This podcast is for you, athletic directors, activity coordinators, coaches, and program associates based in international schools around the world. The Globetrottin ADs is proudly hosted by Nick DeForest from the American International School Vienna and Matt Fleming from the American International School of Budapest. Here they are now, Nick and Matt and the Globetrottin ADs.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Globetrottin ADs. We're continuing our series on the LTC from the NIAAA, the leadership training course. This one is 910. It's a new course that's being developed and hopefully introduced later this year at the NIAAA conference. And we're happy to have with us today Sharon Long from Hong Kong International School, and Kathy Tonkoong, who's the Director for Student Activities at Brent International School in the Philippines. So welcome, Kathy and Sharon. We're happy to have you here. We're going to dive into the content of our section of 910. I was also a part of that. We'll talk about a lot about this section of homestay versus hotel stay, which has always been a long ongoing topic in the circuit of athletic directors and activity coordinators in international schools. So we'll find out about what that is going to be about in 910. But before I do that, we're going to throw it over to Nick. Hi, Nick in Vienna. Nick is currently in hospital. So give us a little update about that, Nick, and then we'll move forward with our interview.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Matt. Hi, ladies. Thanks for joining me here in the hospital. As Matt said, I'm just getting a little bit of a procedure, follow up after my hip surgery. Nothing too serious, but really boring. A week long in the hospital. So happy to have this distraction and happy to talk about a subject that I really like to talk about, homestays versus hotel stays, because I'm quite polarized on one side. I really feel strongly about one, and I think when you talk to ADs, that is often the case. People really like one way or really like the other, which makes it just a great topic. So glad to have all three of you here as authors of this section. Sharon, why don't you give us just a brief, before we start, update of where you are and how it's going?
Greetings from Hong Kong. We are unfortunately going into our fifth wave, and we look to be getting into a lockdown and while everybody else is opening up. But we're all safe and happy here. And now Hong Kong International School has been online for about a month now, and looks like it's going to be extended for at least another month or so. But our kids are resilient and really working hard, and we're looking forward to a good finish to the year.
So I'll go next, since he's indisposed, Nick's indisposed. I'm Kathy Tonkoong. Thanks for having me. And we are the exact opposite of Hong Kong in the Philippines. We have been online for 23 months, and we are on day 7 of in-person classes. Our cases have gone down. I think the Omicron virus hit us pretty hard, and we reached almost 40,000 cases in a day. And now we're down to less than 1,000. And so the government is just like leaping and opening things up for better or for worse. Our kids are happy to be back. Our teachers are ecstatic. My faculty coaches are just chomping at the bit to get things going. And our students seem happy and well adjusted and really happy to be back. So it's nice to see them out. I think our headmaster was almost in tears today when he saw how many came out for girls and boys volleyball. And then I told him that in tennis we had like almost 30 kids out, and he was like, oh. So I think he got a bit emotional about that. That's how long it's been for us. So that's the update from Manila.
Oh, it's great to hear. It's like we mentioned earlier before we start recording, how vast our differences are in terms of where we are and how things are either opening up or staying closed. And that's encouraging to hear. And hopefully in the not too distant future, Hong Kong will follow suit and get back into action, but we'll see. All right, Nick, so you just got your blood pressure taken.
Yep.
So is everything okay?
Yeah, hourly check. I'm still here, so that's good. And but thanks for the update. It is, Matt, as you said, it's crazy, the differences all over. Basketball season in full strength here. But yeah, ever changing. So yeah, homestays versus hotel stays may change for a lot of schools as we come out of the pandemic, for sure. So let's dig into it. First let's talk about the main sections. How's your course broken down?
Yeah, so I can go ahead and start with that since I helped out with the ladies with developing. So basically, we broke it down to 6 different sections concerning housing and versus homestays. So our opening section is basically the opening statement about the debate, how it's been ongoing for several years, what we hope to define what the topic is, and how different league philosophies are shaped, and how different leagues throughout the international school world use housing or homestays for their programs. In the section 2, we talked about factors to consider, which are different ones you would want to use when you decide to either do homestays or hotel stays. So what is your community preference? What's the type of trip involved? Again, your league philosophy, or what's your mandates in place from your school. Section 3 was about homestay basics, so the nuts and bolts of running a home stay program. So we have some good resources in there, which will be interesting, I think, for ADs in international schools if they're going to get back into developing housing programs, what to do. CISA has a very nice video, I think is created by Kirby in Moscow. Yeah. It's a basic overview of what a housing program is, and it's a great one for parents because it explains to them what their obligations are or what to expect when they're going to be housing, and also if you're sending a kid away, what's your kid going to experience when they're going away.
Great.
Yeah,
that's great. And who, would the target audience, or would it be helpful for ADs that are thinking of making a switch? Like, say you're in a homestay league and you're thinking about going to a hotel stay, and this would help you in that process, or I guess think.
I mean, I can jump in here. I think it benefits more, yes, that person, that AD who's thinking of making a switch. I think it benefits ADs who are new and don't use either, or they have small programs and maybe they want to hop now into a bigger program. I think it's also beneficial for administrators to hear the pros and cons if it's their decision, or they're not sure which system they want to use. I think it's also beneficial, the logistics aspect of it, just to learn, like Matt was saying, the nuts and bolts of how to run either a homestay program or a hotel stay program. I think personally, I feel that there's more work that goes into the homestay program. And so in this course, we have a lot of resources that can help you, like lists and charts and procedures and so that that resource section that we have put together will help. And even administrators, and this is your section mostly, Sharon, seeking guidance on the safety aspect of homestay or hotel stay. I think they are, that's who will benefit.
Well, that's great, because often you feel one way, but maybe don't have the backing of why or statistics of why. But so of course, this would help you when an admin or a parent or someone says, hey, homestays aren't safe, for example. You can go to the resources in this class and get some extra help, right, to prove your case.
And I think it isn't our place to actually, I think, mandate or say which one is better than the other. Basically, we're just giving you the resources and the information to support your decision, because what we found is, there is no one right decision. Your decision is based on your school culture. Right now, the current pandemic has actually made some of the schools have to rethink their short-term policies, but ultimately a lot of our conferences are built on either homestay or a hotel already in place. But it does give a good place for people to come back to, and information resource that I think are invaluable.
Well, that's great. Although I totally disagree. I mean, homestays is absolutely the only choice. No, just teasing. No, that's
not going to get much argument from us here, I don't think.
Your summary, how you said that, Sharon, was exactly right, and it's true, right? It's but Sharon, why do you think it's such a main concern or this topic of conversation for ADs as it is?
Well, I think mainly because in the last few years, recent schools and conferences have basically brought in professional safeguarding companies, just for you to map out what you do, why you do it, how you do it. And from there, actually, our organization went through this process about 4 years ago. And basically, at the end of our assessment is one is not better than the other. They each have their pros and cons.
Right.
But it's basically just bringing to light the things that you need to address to ensure utmost safety for our kids.
Yeah.
Again, this course is trying to do is give ADs the tool to decide what works better for their situation and school culture, as I spoke with before. And the resources that Kathy talked about, those documents will help you support and give you the ammunition, and also give you a wealth of things to rely on when talking to your parent population, or even if you're just having sort of that inner debate with yourself. So we also realize that the pandemic mode kind of excludes homestays right now, but we have great resources for our return to normalcy, which here in Asia is really what our that's a big must for us, we hope.
Yeah, and that's well said, because that's one of the things I'm hoping this will be, because eventually we're going to get back into having trips again. Nick's already doing it in Austria. They're sent kids way up to Munich. We're still hoping to, but we're not allowed to yet by the rule here in Hungary. We're not allowed to organize school trips abroad just yet per the government rules. But I think for everybody, when they get back in the track, this is going to be a great resource. So like if you need a refresher, or if you're, there's going to be a new guy in a position in a school that's not sure how all this goes, this will be another resource they can go to say, this is how it's been done. This is how to do it the right way and the safe way. So that's what I'm really looking forward to, because it does dive into like, okay, if you're going to do housing, here's what you should manage and look for. If you're going to do a hotel stay, when to utilize it, what are things you should be looking for when you're organizing these trips and using a hotel, some pitfalls, things that make it a little more comfortable for the kids and a little easier also for the coaches who are managing those trips.
Wow, that's great.
Like best practices. Yeah, we'll hopefully we'll have a lot of best practices that they can refer to, aside from all of the procedures and to-do lists and all of that.
Great.
Well, we have a wealth of experience in these authors who've done it all, right?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I actually made note, but we are all CMAAs here. This panel,
yeah.
all four of us. So
Ooh.
good looking panel right here. Absolutely. I joke, but I definitely am I definitely love housing. I think it brings so much to our community, and love doing it. But what about your conferences? Maybe Kathy, start with you. What do you currently use, and do you think it's right for your conference and your school?
Definitely. I mean, notwithstanding the pandemic, Sharon and I are in the same conference at the Asia Pacific Activities Conference, APAC. And, when I first came to the school, I was a coach. And so I experienced it from the coach's aspect. And then I would see the kids, and then I'd get to meet the parents at, the homestay families, and I would see the intermingling of my kids and their kids. And yes, maybe it took some of them outside their comfort zone, but what they would learn from being outside their comfort zone in somebody else's home, mingling, having dinner with those parents. And then as a parent of an athlete, two athletes, my son and my daughter, I got to be that parent who was homestaying people. And that's where I really felt the benefit of it, because not only did my kids get to mingle with them, but I got to meet them. I mean, we would actually sit around the dinner table and just talk. And so I saw that side of the cultural mingling and learning and being outside your home. And then for my kids to be hospitable and the other thing is, and I know Sharon and I have had this conversation before, with the homestay side of it, they are friends. I mean, the kid that they can battle on the court or on the field or on the pitch, but then they become friends outside, and it just adds a sportsmanship aspect, I think, that we wouldn't get if they were staying in a hotel.
Right.
So what do you think, Sharon, from APAC?
Yeah.
Totally agree. I mean, the number of kids that have, requested a homestay family a second or a third or fourth time, or you homestayed my my older brother, so I really want that family. And we try to, and we try to encourage those connections. And plus the number of kids that have come back from college that first year and go, hey, guess who I ran into? And, they run into somebody from Guangzhou or Kobe, and they were so excited because even though we're very global, our kids a lot of times are going to the same schools or the same city, and they have that instant connection and friendships that you would not get in a hotel where your team would just stay together. So
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, and I can echo that too. As a parent, my kids have been on sports trips and activity trips for CISA throughout parts of Europe. And kind of a funny note, my son, who's in his first year of college now, he had in middle school, he still to this day always had an affinity for Asian culture, and particularly the Korean culture. So he had a lot of Korean friends here at our school. And so when he wanted to go away, I knew he'd prefer to stay with a Korean family. So I messaged Jim, who was a buddy of mine at the AD in Warsaw, and asked him, hey, can you make sure your Jack gets put with a Korean family if possible? So he took care of it, and it ended up being an awesome experience. So he got to stay with a Korean family and see how a Korean family goes. And he came away saying, oh, Dad, they were really impressed with my chopstick skills. So it was a great trip for him, and he enjoy it. And yeah, he kept those friendships with those kids too.
Yeah. Well, and Matt, just to ask you specifically, do you think homestays are the right fit for your school and your community? I mean, because it's not just sending kids other, it's also housing them when they come to you, right?
It's for us, and it's a huge part of our program in normal times. We require kids, if they want to participate in the sports or activity program, they have to sign up for housing program, and they have to agree that they're going to help out when it's going to happen. So the majority of them are pretty good with it. You always get a few you have to chase up and remind and stay on top of, but in general, it's a fantastic program, and it really enriches the school. It shows off our community in a positive way, and they really enjoy it. It's always great to see on Sundays when the parents drop off the kids to get the bus to the airport, right? Yeah. There's always some fantastic goodbyes because they've made these connections, and there's hugs and smiles and well wishes, and it's just really nice to see after a busy weekend when you're tired.
Well, we're all housers. We're all housers, but I did have because of the pandemic right now, we're traveling, as Matt, you said, but we're staying in hotels. So I did have a really good experience in Frankfurt in a hotel in the fall. I saw that not bonding with other students, almost non-existent, but with our own team, right? So the team dinners, the hanging out in the hotel together with the team. So obviously on the flip side of making those connections to kids in other schools and other families, the flip side is the bond between your team is so much stronger, right? But one positive out of the other side anyway. It was sure a heck of a lot more work, checks in the halls and everything, but yeah, positives and negatives on both sides, as we've said, for sure.
And when we get into that section of 9 and 10, there's again, as a resource, there's a lot of good things in there that people can look into that help them figure out, okay, well, what's the best place to stay? I mean, you got to go with what the local person's going to tell you, right. But there might be some other things that will help you out as well to make the trip more comfortable, like the location. Is it close to public transportation? Is it in a safe place? What's nearby for food? Because the kids are normally getting fed when they're being housed, right? So they can't do that when they're in a hotel. So you have to figure out other options. So there's some good stuff like that in this 9-10 section.
Great. Well, I look forward to it, and maybe as an update for everyone listening, because we did the other three other 9-10s earlier in the school year. Now our 9-10 is, I guess, approved, right? We will pilot all the sections online in the next few months and be able to teach at least 3 of the courses at the national conference in Nashville. So that's exciting news. Not that the courses are perfect yet, right? We'll, I guess, do some more work on the manuals, as they say, and then have that first pilot where we might have to go and revisit some things, but looking really good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the support for just to add to that, the NIAAA has been very supportive in this and in the back and forth with all the authors. It's been a big group of authors, right? So it's a lot to coordinate, a lot of people to work with, and they've been pretty good about it and helping us out and kind of just keeping us guided down the path of getting this course added into their curriculum.
Right. All right. Well, what do you, if we can go around the room, and what do you think the biggest takeaway is for someone who's going to take this course? What do you think? Sharon, let's start with you.
Well, I think this course is great because the biggest takeaway would be that, it gives you both sides. And so like our school has to do both because we do homestay with our conference, but then our invitationals that we add that aren't part of a conference or this and that, we do hotel stay.
Okay.
So you're equally responsible regardless and knowing both sides of the coin.
Right.
So I think that's a huge takeaway for me. The other one is that you have to review and update these regularly because your hotels, if you're doing hotel stay, they change month to month, or if their management changes, and sometimes those practical things that were there in place have to be, you have to check almost every time that you use it as a facility. And then the other thing is that these resources for you new international ADs who are coming from the States or coming from a place where you don't travel, even if you travel out of state, it's very minimal, or it's sorted by parents or a booster club or whatever. Ultimately, you are responsible for what happens in terms of child safety protection. So you've got to cover your bases. So be prepared and with this, and I think, with what we're providing, it's going to be a great resource for doing things safely.
Awesome. Thanks, Sharon. Kathy, what do you think yours? I mean, those are great, obviously, takeaways, but is there any one nugget maybe for you?
I think the tools that we're going to give them in the resource page, I think I'm a big believer in the tools, and the NIAAA taught me that to share, why reinvent? So I think there'll be a lot for them to use and to adopt. I mean, even take forms and procedures and, the things that we have documented and be able to just change the headings, and use those again. That's what I think will be so the resources and the tools that we're going to provide, and that's both sides, whether you're using homestay or hotel stay, or like Sharon and myself for swimming, we use hotel stay for some and the invitationals too. So I think, and I think it'll be for new ADs or new ADs to a different region or new ADs to a different conference that maybe use the other method rather than the one they've been used to.
Super. That's great. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, for me, my hope is that, maybe a stateside AD will be able to find some good value from this, because, we're pretty good about organizing trips abroad and kids getting on planes and buses and trains to go to places, and they're not really, because it's just the differences. One of the main differences between international schools and schools from North America. So my hope is that maybe one of them will be able to look at this, like if they have to organize an overnight trip, it's a rarity, I think, for a lot of stateside or North American ADs. So maybe this will be something they can use from us that'll help them plan better or consider options when they want to make those trips that are overnighters.
Cool.
Coach Evaluator is the premier coach evaluation software for schools and athletic organizations and preferred coach evaluation solution of the NIAAA and the Positive Coaching Alliance. The system is completely customizable with an always growing evaluation template library for athletic directors to reference. There are not only evaluations for ADs to use, but also self-evaluations and parent-player evaluations of coaches. Learn more about digitizing and simplifying your coach evaluation process by visiting www.coachevaluator.com. Mention Globetrottin ADs to receive a $200 discount on the yearly rate.
Kukri are a global multi-sport clothing brand specializing in providing the world's most prestigious schools with bespoke-made and designed team uniforms for students of all standards and abilities. If you are frustrated by inconsistent colors, branding, costs, and sizing across your school's uniforms, then it's time to discuss an offering where every sport is available, from softball to soccer, for male and female athletes at rates to suit your budget. To find out how Kukri could elevate the apparel of your student athletes to a professional level, email the team at contact@kukrisports.com. A dedicated sales manager will offer you a quote today. Mention this ad and receive a special offer on your coach or PE staff order.
All right. Well, I think that's a good overview. Again, in our series of 9-10, we don't want to give away too much information. We might have because we're good like that. But I think it's going to be a great addition to the 9-10 course. There's other sections which we've covered in other previous episodes, and I can't remember them all off the top of my head. Maybe you can, Nick. But just want to thank the ladies for coming on to share about this section. Again, it's going to be a valuable resource for folks that they'll be able to use, and we look forward to 9-10 coming together and being an official course later this year with the NIAAA once it passes through all the specs and the piloting of it. So very excited for it.
Cool. But before we go, we want to hear about the awesome cities that you're in. Give us a little bit, Sharon. Let's start with you. What's your favorite thing to do in Hong Kong? One of the best things you experience while you're there? I know, give us something.
Well, I'm a beach girl. Give me a beach and the ocean, and I'm happy. So I love the beautiful green mountains that surround the fantastic beaches of our blue-green seas. Hong Kong is an amazing international city. I love how many different nationalities come together here. Hong Kong values international education. So there's a solid core of schools that work together to provide top-notch education. And you combine that with a rich Chinese culture that is evident in all sections of the city, and you have an amazing place to live and work. Cool. I came kicking and dragging to Hong Kong when my husband was posted and said I'd only stay for 2 or 3 years and not a moment longer. I wanted back in North Carolina, and it's year 26 for me. So wow. It's a second home, and I love it. And I'll still split some time when I retire in June between Hong Kong and North Carolina. But yeah, Hong Kong has been really good for my family. It's been a great place to grow as an educator.
Wow, that's great. And congratulations. Yeah, retirement in just a few months. Yeah, that's exciting. Very cool. Kathy's not happy about missing an APAC colleague, but that's okay. You'll see her.
No, it's all right. I'm running her tennis tournament in October, so she'll be very happy that I'm retired.
Cool.
True. Very true.
Well, we know, Kathy, you've been in the Philippines for quite some time, as well as Sharon is in Hong Kong. So what's your highlight or most favorite thing in Manila?
Well, a little different for me. Little different for me because I'm half Filipino. So you know, half my heart is here. What I like about this country is the friendly, warm, generous people. We're always ready to give you the shirt off our backs, and we'll feed you and entertain you until your hearts are full, and that's just what we like to do. Like Sharon, I'm also a beach person, and we have the best beaches in the world, I think, finest sand, and the entertainment that goes along with it. You want karaoke? We'll get a live band to back you up. You know, we Filipinos love to sing. We love basketball. We love sports in general. And so, yeah, I just love it here. And people are fluent not fluent, they're proficient in English. And so it's an easy place to work. If you're working for school or a business, it's an easy place to work because no matter where you go, people speak English. So that's an advantage, I think. So, yeah.
Great. Well, that's great. Thanks, ladies, both for that and for the whole episode. And I look forward to taking your section of 9-10 either in the pilot or next year in Nashville.
Definitely looking forward to it. So thanks again for coming on. Nick, get well, stay healthy over there in Vienna. Do what your doctor says. Be a good patient.
Yeah,
and get there as soon as you can. All right. Hopefully this helps you pass the time.
For sure. Okay, thanks everyone.
All right, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks to the Globetrottin ADs. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thanks, Nick and Matt, for being our fearless leaders.
Yay! In more ways than one.
Until next week, this has been another episode of the Globetrottin ADs.